Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to KT Garage. Today we're going to work on a 2017 Jeep Wrangler. We recently have a engine check light came on and the code is P2096 and P0137, which indicating that the downstream O2 sensor, there's something wrong with it, and the code also say that it's on the passenger side. So I'm gonna show you guys how to get to that O2 sensor and replace with a new one, but I also want to make sure that I don't have to go back and replace it in case the O2 sensor is good, but your catalytic converter is getting a little bit older and it's throwing the code because it could be a bad or an old catalytic converter that doesn't work well. So I'm gonna show you guys how to use this O2 sensor extension. And what this does is it puts here's the O2 sensor, it gets installed like that, and it pushes your O2 sensor away from the mainstream of the exhaust flow, and therefore the reading is more acceptable, so it doesn't throw that engine code anymore. Let's hope that it works. I'm going to install it, drive it around a little bit, and see if the engine check light will stay off, and then we'll give you an update on that. So this Jeep is raised 4 inches, and it does have an aftermarket inner fender. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove this aftermarket inner fender. For you guys with a stock Jeep, you need to do the same thing, just remove your inner fender. That's just a bunch of bolts that you need to remove, and then it'll come out. The O2 sensor is sitting right in there. Into the catalytic converter from the passenger side, immediately you see the upstream O2 sensors right there. Real easy to replace. It'll take a 7/8 socket or wrench to get them removed. Now the second one is in there, so it's going to be a little bit harder to get them out. I still have to come up with a plan on how to get that out. Now, looking at this up here, I just discovered another problem that I'm having. I'm having a little bit of oil leak there. You can see it's come out of that gasket. That's the valve cover gasket. That's probably going to be at least 4-hour job, so I'm going to have to get to that at some point. It's not an emergency just yet, but you can see the oil starting to drip down this way. And then I'm looking at the ground. That's a little bit of a drip right there, so that can't be good. I'm gonna have to address it. Okay, so before removing the sensor, of course you have to disconnect the wires. You see the plug back there, there's a little tap, a little blue ping on top. That's where you're gonna press on. Just press it on, and then use your other hand trying to separate the connection. And then you can start trying to remove the sensor. Okay, so this is in the way. I really can't get a wrench in there. I'm gonna do, I have to take this shield off. There's a bolt here. You can see that I partially backed that out already. And then there's one here, and then there's one behind there. It's 10 millimeters. Make sure you soak it up with WD-40 real good before you try to back it out. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this because there's no other way to get access to that sensor. Well, as this turns out, it's very difficult to remove the heat shield. This bolt came out just fine, and then this one down here came out just fine, but there's 2 back there. I was able to get one out, but the other one, I stripped the head of the bolt, wouldn't come out, and there's no way to get that one out. It's just way too much work trying to get to it. There's not much room in there to work with, and these things is like super hard to deal with. They look like that, but they're very hard to bend and trying to get them out. So I kind of give up on that, but I had another plan and I made it work. So what happened is I cut the electrical wire just so I can fit the wrench through it, because this right here it's not gonna let you get the wrench through, and you really need to have this side of the wrench to get it to turn. So after I cut the wire, I was able to go in like that and then get the wrench to come in here, and then I was able to turn. It was just like barely engaging, but I made it work. I got it out. Now getting it back in is not too bad because I have a spacer which kind of like shift everything up over an inch, so it's gonna be a lot easier to deal with. I'll show you how I'm gonna get that done. Okay, so this is how it's gonna work. You just screwed in the extension, and you really don't need to tighten it because you can tighten it when it goes in there. So we need to just get it on. Hopefully it fit in here actually, because it is so much longer. Where's that hole at? Oh, it's down here. Okay, so it's not too bad. There we go. So I'm gonna put the phone down and get that secured, and then I'll show you how easy it is to get the wrench on there. Okay, so you can see that getting a wrench in here is not a big deal at all because we move everything up about an inch. So check this out. So now I'm able to turn it very comfortably. It's engaging real well. So I'm just gonna turn the bottom first, and then I'll get the top secured, and then I'm done. I'm gonna have to put the phone down for this, but it's a lot easier to work with. Okay, so I torqued up the sensor. Super easy to torque them up. Just make sure you torque up both connections, the sensor to the plug, and then the plug, of course, down to the converter, catalytic converter. And then back there, I hooked up the plug back up. All the electronics have been hooked back up. I believe at this point we're done in here. Now, of course, you can see that there's oil leak everywhere. I'm just gonna have to order the gasket, and then we'll have to get this done probably next week or so. I don't want to leave it too long because you can see it start dripping down to the converter. It's probably gonna start smoking a little bit, smell bad, and it could be a fire hazard. We'll take care of that. So now at this point, I'm just gonna go ahead and put the inner liner back, and we're done with the project. I got the inner liner back, so at this point, I'm gonna clear the code, and then we just drive around the block and see if the code comes back. And then we're just gonna keep watching for the code to see if it come back up. Well, check this out, guys. The engine code is gone. The check engine light is no longer there. So I thought I had to reset it, but I guess with the new O2 sensor, it recognizing there's no longer a problem. It cleared the code itself, so which is excellent. I'm just gonna drive around the block and then see if the check engine light come back on. Otherwise, I think the problem is resolved. Well, I drove around the block for a little bit, probably 10-15 minutes. Came back, and the engine check light hasn't come back. I think the problem is resolved. But if something else is going on and the engine light come back on, I will leave under the comment so you know that it hasn't been resolved, and I'm still gonna troubleshoot, but just assume that problem is solved unless I leave in the comments. So now I'm gonna have to go and deal with that gasket because it's leaking oil. it's okay for now, but within the next few weeks, I'm gonna have to get that addressed, and I'll do another video on that, on how to replace that gasket, the valve cover gasket. It looks simple like that, but I bet you it's gonna be a 3 to 4 hour job. We'll find out in the next couple of weeks. I appreciate you guys tuning into KT Garage. If you like the content, please like and subscribe. Thank you.